What's going on, everybody? Fusebox here with another spotlight video in Raid Shadow Legends. Today we're going to go over an epic. He's in the demon spawn and he's a support champ, Achak the Wendarin. Now I have no idea what a Wendarin is, and Achak sounds like the noise you make when you get a piece of popcorn stuck in your throat. But this guy is absolutely amazing. He's definitely, when I say support, it's a little bit of, he actually brings some control. He brings some heals in an odd way, some turn meter manipulation, and it all comes from very unique design, a unique design. So let's check him out. Achak the Wendarin, super cool looking champ, right? I mean, like, if we could pull that hood, I don't know if that's, I guess, a cloak, but one of the cooler looking champs in the game. I mean, he is cool looking. And he definitely has a kit to back up that look. So we're going to start with, let's start with what he does, and then how I built him out, the masteries I used. Alright, so kind of pay attention. Every one of these deserves to be booked. That's what took me so long getting to this guide. It's a lot of books, but he's amazing. But every one of these abilities plays out. It synergizes with the rest of his kit amazingly, and can synergize with other characters too. So building a team around him is super fun. You have so many options. Alright, A1. It attacks one enemy. A 30% chance of decreasing that books up, by the way, 5, 10, 15, 20, a 50% chance of decreasing the duration of a random buff on a target if they're under HP burn. Alright. It also has a 50% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 15% if they're under a freeze debuff. You'll soon find out everybody's going to be under either a freeze or an HP burn debuff. Most enemies you come across will end up being frozen. Let's go ahead and look at his A2. Places a block debuffs on all allies for one turn, and the 25% strengthen. Strengthen is a rare and amazing buff in this game. It just mitigates 25% of all damage coming in on you. It's better than your defense increase of 60%. Almost an irreplaceable buff. Like, it really does protect your team. So having that for 2 turns and blocking debuffs, you know, you could use this right before the dragon throws out his poisons. You're going to take way less damage, and you're going to block all those poisons. It's an amazing move. But this is really his bread and butter. This is what he's all about. His A3, Frostfire Gale. It attacks all enemies, has a 90% chance when booked of freezing any enemies that's attack is higher than their defense. If their defense is higher than their attack, it'll put up HP burn. This is a really cool kit. You'll be amazed to find out how many heroes in this game, at least the AI heroes, actually have higher attack. He freezes the majority of the time. That's just the way that they ran the numbers in the AI against waves. But that it's exactly what it says. You can manipulate this. Let's say you're trying to get an HP burn. You know, in that case, their defense has to be equal to or higher than their attack. You could take their attack down and flip them from a freeze to an HP burn, or vice versa. You might want to keep that in mind. Not every time either, but if it's enough to drop their attack below their defense, it will change from a freeze to an HP burn. Definitely want to keep that in mind. Also, again, all of this needs to be booked. Every one of these to get the most out of him. There's nothing you want to skip. And then he has an absolutely ridiculous passive. Once you see him go, you'll kind of get a feel for how important this passive is. Alright, so all allies heal for 5% of their max HP each time an enemy under HP burn takes a turn. Well, he can be placing HP burns, and that means every time one of them move, you're going to get healed. Your whole team is going to get healed by 5% of their individual max HP. If they're frozen, everybody on the team gets 10% of their turn meter boosted. Now this is ridiculous. He's so good in spiders. Let's look at how I have him built, and then we'll kind of go over all this because it's just tremendous. Okay, he is. It's worth mentioning the damage is based on attack on these. He does like reputable damage. It's not bad. It's not great. That's really not what you want to build him for. He is a support champ. Tons of control, heals that you don't realize are going off. Turn meter manipulation that's just kind of behind the scenes is happening constantly. So you really want to build this guy fast, tanky, with great accuracy. Without accuracy, his whole kit falls apart. So as far as what you want to end up with, a minimum of 220 accuracy. There's really no limit to how much you want to go. If you want to push arena with him, you could go into the 4, 5, 600s with this. But you want to hit, for most content, at least 220. And then when you start pushing like hard Doom Tower, you'll want to grow more and more. Fast and tanky is what I always say when it comes to support champions. So I kind of have a blended mixture of defense and attack with a decent amount of HP. It's kind of a really well balanced build. I went ahead and gave him some crit. I didn't really push his crit rate damage, but his crit rate, I got it really close to 100 so that he is getting use. I'm getting use out of him as he's taking those moves. I'm doing some damage. It adds up. Like I say, it's not bad. It's just not great. Definitely want him to be fast. Matter of fact, I would say even faster would be better. The more you get back around to his skills, the more you're going to get out of him. So as far as sets, there's a lot of options because it is all about cycling through his skills. You could go with Relentless or Reflex. Those are both great options. I've got Perception, trying to boost up my accuracy, and I did take the Divine Attack. Is that what that's called? Yeah, Divine Offense. It boosts his attack. Since I'm not pushing his attack real hard, this gives me a boost, plus 15% of his HP is a shield for 3 turns. Kind of protect him, make him tanky while boosting his attack. But as far as like main stats, I'm going with HP chest, speed boots. I took the crit rate, and then just looking for speed, HP rolls. I'll take defense percentage, accuracy. It's a really blended, balanced build. I think I got HP. Yeah, HP. We got some attack rolls, a defense roll. Just a really solid blended build. I actually am surprised. I bet I took this because of the accuracy 3 roll. I was like, I really wasn't pushing his crit damage, but I'll take it. And an accuracy banner. Make sure that he's landing all those moves. Just a real balanced approach on building him. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to real quick see if I can roll some of this up. It's obviously not rolled up that far. I'll be right back. Okay, so RNGesus was not too kind on the silver, but I did get some good speed rolls. We buffed this guy up. I'm over 200 speed. Actually have too much crit rate now, but I buffed up my defense, attack, and HP. We're in a better position to show off this support champ. So let's look at my now masteries. I've seen all kinds of ways of building him. This really works well for me. I use him everywhere. We're gonna start over here. I went ahead and took some crit rate. I went into the crit damage. Life Drinker, if he's in a pinch, I need him to be healing up. Cycle of Violence. It's all about getting back around to that big A3. So this helps me reduce cooldowns. And kill streak, he's not going to be killing a whole bunch of enemies, but it basically got me over into War Master from the path I took. War Master gives him more viability against bosses. He can get those procs and actually do big damage. Now I took an interesting route here. Before I show you my build, it's worth noting that Sniper is worth taking. He's 90% instead of 100% on that A3 to do either the HP burn or the freeze. This would get him up to 95%. I'm just going to go ahead and roll the dice. 90% is a pretty good chance. So what I did is I took some accuracy, I went over here into a little more accuracy, when no skills are on cooldown. Then I went into Exalt in Death, and I only took this. This heals him by 10% of his max HP the first time an enemy is killed in a round. That could be helpful, but I took it so that I could split directions. I wanted Arcane Celerity. This will increase his turn meter as the debuffs that he puts out are expired, and he puts out debuffs all day long. So this will keep him moving through his cycling through his abilities even faster. I went down into Evil Eye. I love Evil Eye. I always try to get it. And then I took Master Hexer. If I freeze or if I HP burn, I want it to last an extra round. This gives me a 30% chance of extending any of those debuffs. And again, the reason I took Exalt in Death is so I could split over here. I also want to increase my turn meter when a buff that I cast is expired, because he's always putting up that 1 turn block cooldowns as well as the 2 turn strengthen buff. So these are going to be wearing out too, also boosting his turn meter. He's going to constantly be rotating. Then I took Cycle of Magic. It's a 5% chance to just decrease the cooldown on a random skill, kind of like Cycle of Violence. It's going to help me get back to that 8-3. And I also took Lasting Gifts. I kind of took, this is to make that block cooldowns, block debuffs last longer. A chance to make Strengthen last longer. Either one of those is an amazing thing that could happen. So I kind of split this tree. Usually you go one or the other for a debuffer or a buffer. Well, he's both. So this is the way I built him. I'll let you kind of take a look at it. There are plenty of ways to build him. He's a support champ, so support and defense are always very viable for him. But getting down to War Master, basically, it gives me the chance to take Cycle of Violence and then get War Master. That makes him actually do damage against bosses. And that's the way I got him. There's 100 ways you could build this guy, and I'm sure many of them will work just as well. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and take him into one of the places that he absolutely shines, spiders. Now, he's red affinity. Notoriously, stage 19 is the most difficult dungeon to beat. He's the answer. And we can show it off on 20 even though he's the wrong affinity. I've kind of showcased this team that I love. It's a fun team. What's going on here? We're going to go in depth on what he's doing. So in general, he's putting out freezes on all of the spiderlings. And Seal of the Drakes is there to put stuns out. In case he misses a freeze, she's helping to stun. It's basically a bunch of control with some debuffs. Valkyrie's here just to put a shield up and protect everybody. And in the end, Elder Skarg is able to use all these debuffs to put out an HP burn. Now, when an HP burn is out, every time they take a move, everybody heals for 5% of their HP because of Achak, bless you. Also, Achak, bless you, will be putting out freezes everywhere. And every time an enemy under a freeze takes a move, everybody on our team gets 10% of their turn meter boosted. We're all going to be flying as this goes. We're going to be protected because everyone's frozen. They're going to be HP burned, which is an absolute strategy to kill the spider. So let's watch it in action. We shouldn't really have to slow this down. He's going to put up, the first thing he'll do is put up his strengthen buff and his block debuffs. That protects us as we start taking hits from the spider. 2 of my people, Achak and Elder Skarg, are the wrong affinity. And they're going to hold up just fine. Neither one of them are tanks, but they're going to hold up just fine because I got strengthen always going on. And now you see all the freezes we already have out? I think it was 3 or 4. Every time they take a turn, they're boosting our turn meter, so just helping us get back around to that massive freeze. So the way this team goes, the spider will take a turn and heal 1 time. Look, now we've got, look at all those debuffs. Now at this point, the spider took her turn. We've got debuffs on the spider. So this is where it's really game on. We're looking to freeze as many spiders as possible and put HP burn on as many as possible. And once HP burn lands, well, once the freeze lands, watch how quickly our turn meters boost. When the HP burn lands, watch every time one of those spiderlings takes a move, how our health power just gets healed right back up. So we've got stuns out, controlling everybody. Now we've got freezes on, what, 5 of them? So every time they try to take a turn, it's boosting our turn meter. Now HP burns out. This is what's going to kill the spider mother. But every time they take a move, we're healing. There's so much going on, it's hard to see the green numbers flying off of our heads. But we're healing, I promise. We're like healing all the time. In the end, it's interesting to see. Now, Seal of the Drakes, I have a special build. If you haven't seen my guide on Seal of the Drakes, I think it's called Seal Takes on the Game. She's insane. The build I have on her is just insane. She puts out heals every time she takes a turn. But I bet that Wendarin, Achak, bless you, actually can perform as well or better on heals just by letting all these HP burns take a turn. And every time they take a turn, you see that spider just ticking down. It's the funnest team. It's the funnest team to play. Not the fastest. You can tell I've got a faster team that I can beat this with. But that is so fun. And looky here. Seal of the Drakes and Achak, bless you. Okay, I'll stop that. Both of them healed for about the same amount. And he simply did it off of a passive every time one of the HP burns takes a move. So pairing him up with an HP burn, if he's not placing them because of the level of defense and attack, is absolutely amazing. Now, as far as running him through content, you can take him anywhere you want. And honestly, his affinity just does not matter. He was the wrong affinity on that last one, on the spider. How in the world did Killian the Lucky get in here? So let's take like a really... We don't want to like take a crazy team because we want him to be like our support. You know, he's going to kind of do what Bellower would do in a stun set. You know, it'd be interesting to take Elder. Let's take Elder Scarred, because if he throws out any of the HP burns, it's going to be more heals we get from Achak the Wendarin. It's just all about, look at all those poisons. It won't take long to kill this guy. Now, if we wanted to put up HP burn, we could try to decrease the attack of this dragon, and that would give us a chance. It doesn't mean it's guaranteed. If it drops his attack lower than his defense, we would actually be able to put up HP burn on him. It wouldn't be worth going through a lot of effort to do, though. So that was an easy win, and whereas Apothecary did win out on heals, but that's what Apothecary does. So all he's doing in any of these dungeons, he doesn't bring any multi-hitters for the Fire Knight, but if you're struggling to get to the Fire Knight, but you have the right pieces to bring that turn meter down on the Fire Knight, he could help you, just kind of like a Bellower in a stun set would do. So let's get into the arena. I'm going to be honest, I've never taken him into the arena. because it's obvious what he can do in the arena. What do we got? We got a slow team, kind of tanky, but if they go off, it's going to be nasty. See how this goes. Now, if we hit auto, I believe he's going to put up strengthen and block debuffs, which is a good move if you don't plan on winning the first round. But let's see. All right, so he's first. First thing we want to do, we do have a chance of a weak hit here. So we've got our speed boosters frozen and our major damage dealer is frozen. Now we can start chipping away at everybody. That's pretty good. We're going to leave him frozen over there. This, by the way, pitiless one, you see him over here wrecking everybody's show. I've got a guide on him. He's an unspoken hero. I'm telling you, he is a nuker. All day he can nuke. What do we want to do here? We'll just speed up again. Now, we're going to go ahead. Let's put up, in case Candrafon goes off, we're going to put up strengthen and block debuffs. Wrong affinity, so we're going to have some weak hits from some of our guys, but it's about over. We should, yeah, there we go. Now, if you wanted to build a real tanky team, just a nightmare of a team, this is not going to be a win, guys. There's no way we're going to get a win, but I just have to have some fun. She synergizes off of freezes. He can land HP burns, which gives us heals. I'm going to put this on auto and just watch these guys go nuts. Strengthens up, block debuffs. That's important since we're not going to actually tear into these guys. They can't debuff us as hard as they try. So we got 2 freezes. Now we've got fears. We've got HP burns. Look at all these buffs and debuffs, man. This is a nightmare. I mean, now Elder Scarg one at a time can take people out. That's the only real damage we have here. But hey, with those HP burns, we're going to heal every time they take a move, and we're just working our way right through them. Now she can revive. That's Rector Drath. I vote that we get a helmet for Rector Drath because that face has given me nightmares. Like, she is rough. Alright, so now let's just real quick, we'll mention it, clan boss. Achak the Wendarin is not a clan boss hero, but he does bring, if you are still progressing, he brings that strengthen debuff and a block cooldown. So he could be the guy who even in an unkillable team blocks the stun, or just blocks the stun for you in a progression team. But you can get so much further when you're constantly laying out that strengthen buff. So I'm not trying to sell him as a clan boss hero, but he definitely has use there. Now, one place right here, there's one thing you got to watch out for. He will place the HP burn on the big spider. But if you drop the defense on the spider, then it becomes a freeze which will not land. Now in this case, instead of increased defense, I'm dropping defense and attack, but it drops defense by 60 and attack by 50. So I don't know if that's going to make the change or not. But this team works either way because I have Elder Scarg. Elder Scarg can land that HP burn as well. You've got to have HP burn up to kill the frost spider. If she dies without it up, she just revives and comes right back. I'm going to speed through this. It's going to take some time, so we'll kind of blaze through this and see what happens. There it is. So it landed it perfectly at the end, and we beat the Frostbiter. Rush, get this guy built up. But this guy is worth being your next guy. If you're progressing, he is worth building up. He's worth all those books. It's a lot of books, I know, but one of the coolest support champs out there. Guys, remember, I'm still a noob. I'm trying to get better every day. I'm working on my audio, my video. I'm still getting used to having all these lights and monitors. I'm putting a lot of time and money into it. All I ask, it's completely free. If you would sign in to YouTube, click the sub button. If you like it, hit like. Leaving comments is great. You can just put a thumbs up. You can write whatever. It's all good, but comments help the algorithms. I'm trying to get to where I come up on the search engines. Maybe I'm getting better. And I know I'm rough, but you like it. So anyways, I'll be forever grateful if you would take the time to sub. The notification bell, that's just something for you if you want to keep up with my videos. I'm trying to put them out daily. I have slow upload speeds right now, and I'm working on that too. But anyways, guys, I can't thank you enough for even sitting through it. And until next time, enjoy the grind.